It is the 41st millennium. Mankind battles for survival across the universe, besieged on all fronts by the heretic, the mutant, and the alien. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. One faction of Space Marines stands amidst the chaos, the mightiest of the Emperor's warriors, and a beacon of light in the darkness. This legion, the 9th Legion of Adeptus Astartes, the Blood Angels.
Hello! Where's my chat? There we go. Hello! I think we're live. Someone say hello in chat. Who's gonna be first? Say hello to me. How are you? Say hello. Who is gonna be first? Wolf Hunter, hello. Can you hear me alright? What wolves are you hunting tonight? So this one on the right is my new Blood Angels Impulsor commission. This one on the left is the last Blood Angels commission. I'm gonna make them match. I don't think I'm gonna do too much to this one. A couple of little dots of silver, a couple of little, not much at all really. So the main thing I'm going to do is make the match, get some transfers on. I mean, they match pretty darn nicely. Hello Phil, good morning in Australia. How are things over in Australia this morning? It's summer in Australia, right? Nice and warm? Let me get my magnifying glass out. I can't paint without my trusty magnifying glass these days. It's lovely and warm. Nice. It's like 1 degree Celsius here in Scotland. It's actually -3 today, I think. So that was nice. I love -3 where they're not. Kevin, hello! Oh, I should have titled the stream Happy Thanksgiving. How stupid am I? Well, I'm stupid and I'm not American, so... there was a time in my life where I would have very much liked to move to America, but it never happened for me, so... Here I am in cold, cold Scotland. But hey, if I'd moved, maybe we'd have never started Blood Angels Commander, huh? Would have been tragic. I was thinking about that today actually, like, what would my life be like if I didn't have my YouTube? Would I trade my life for a better life if I didn't have my YouTube channel? I don't think I would. You're overrated in America, are you? There's lots to like in America. Do you know what I like? Do you know the thing I like the most? Probably IHOP. We don't have any fucking IHOP in Scotland. Hey, the stream's only been live for a minute or two and I swore, so be happy you're here to an unfiltered chat. Please leave a like on tonight's stream if you get a minute. Bill just finished building my new 2,000 points of Blood Angels, started playing Blood Angels in 2nd edition, took a big break from 40k. Do you know what, Phil? I took about a 10-year break as well, so don't feel too bad about it. I've been back now, I think coming up on like 8 years. But I did take like a 10-year break. I think I must have had a break from like early 2000s to like 2000 and let's see, something. Hello Gamble, how are you doing? So I'm not going to be painting a whole lot here. I'm just going to be trying to touch up some of these bits on this tank, trying to get a little more like the one that's on the left here. So a couple of minor little changes. Mike did try and keep them very similar for me. I'm trying to think how long ago I got that other gladiator commissioned. I think it must have been Ah, you mud. That one almost came out like a super swear there. Let's not start the stream. Right, maybe I should take this thing off its base and hold it by it. Yeah, I'm gonna take it off its base. I'm gonna hold it like this. The music is too loud. Thanks, dude. I'll turn it down 100%. You know what? I've got my... Wow, yeah, the music was like 10 times too loud. Thank you for that. I've got my volume down quite a lot here. I didn't realize it was way too loud. Sorry. Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me better now? I actually changed my setup. I've got my camera in a different place. You can probably tell my camera is in a different place tonight. I've moved the camera. I got a better mount for it essentially. But I'm not entirely sure if I'm pleased with where it is. So we'll maybe move it yet. But I'm not going to be painting too much of this tank, just a couple of little rivets and stuff to match the one that he already did for me. Volkar, good evening! Sam just finished up his whole 3,000 point Blood Angels army. You just discovered the channel, Sam, or you just finished your army? It's a good day for impulsor paint. When is it not a good day for impulsor painting, Phil? Used the 2 impulsors for the first time last night. It was fun. It's not time. I've got the Reavers already painted, dude. I actually painted my Reavers. I've got them painted. And do you know what? I sorted out all my Warhammer as well, so I know exactly where they are. I've painted my Reavers. I just don't use them. I like the double impulsor though. Because holy damn do Thousand Suns do a lot of mortal wounds, don't they? I don't think I've played against Magnus maybe ever. I think that might have been the first time last night I played against the Demon Primarch Magnus, and my god does he does an obnoxious amount of damage. Killing like 5 Blade Guard with one of his guns was just disgusting. Volkar got his butt kicked by Drukhari because of the Dark Lances. Dark Lances can be nightmarish. Need a slightly bigger brush for that. Close game last night. Yes, it was crazy close. Hello, 2 Scoops. Happy Turkey Day to you. So hold on a minute, right? You guys, correct me if I'm wrong. Definitely correct me because I know very little about American culture, I suppose. You guys have turkey on Thanksgiving, which is like the end of November. You guys have turkey again on Christmas Day, or what do you do on Christmas Day? Because here in Scotland, we do turkey on Christmas Day, typically. I mean, there's not much wrong with, like, turkey roast, is there? I suppose you could have it twice, 1 month apart. I'm just curious. You do ham on Christmas Day? Volkar's been assuming all edition that the hover tanks fly. Do you know what they did fly when they brought them in, Volkar? But what people ended up doing was, like, you'd find impulsors parked on the top of vehicles and... Sorry, not on top of vehicles. You'd find impulsors parked on the top of terrain pieces and stuff like that, and it was kind of obnoxious. I didn't actually play impulsors when they were... when they flew, but I played against plenty of people that took them when they flew, and they were just all over the place. They were up on top of buildings, they were flying all over the place. It was a little bit silly, the hover tanks. You do presents and beer on Christmas? I mean, everybody does presents and beer, I guess. The only question is what is an acceptable time to start drinking beer on Christmas Day? Like, is it when you get up with breakfast, or does it have to be a little bit later in the day? Usually for me, I feel like it's like lunchtime. Maybe we can have like one sneaky beer at lunchtime. No one get too upset. No one will get too upset about just one beer at lunchtime, you know? It's good. Fighter CM has a turkey in the smoker. Other people do prawns. We sometimes do prawns and turkey on Christmas Day. But yeah, so this is my second impulsor. I have a third one now. I mean, I was going to say, yeah, I have a third impulsor now. I am going to likely figure out a list where we run 3 impulsors. 12:01 a.m. Maybe you're a tiny little bit early, Phil. But yeah, having played the double impulsor for the first time last night, I can say that I do think double impulsor to get the second impulsor, I had to drop a 5-man death company and a chaplain. So I was down to only 1 death company, only 5 of them, led by a chaplain, and I feel like my list was better equipped to deal with things than it was the week before, where I had the 2 death company with the chaplain. So I think I'll play this list again. I would have loved to have some scouts in the list. I just don't have the points. I would have loved to have more than 1 unit of assault jump intercessors. I just don't have the points. 4 more impulsors to go. I was actually thinking about like what would a 6 impulsor list look like for Blood Angels. I think it would be 2 one-dimensional. I think 2 is totally. I think 2 is stronger than 1, because I recently did win the GT with 1 impulsor, but I think I'm now on team 2 impulsors. It'll take me a hot minute to get the third one ready, because I'm probably going to stick with 2 for a little while. I think 2 impulsors is actually very good for Blood Angels. I thought it was going to be quite meta. It turns out that I actually think it's really strong, because people have to put a lot of firepower in to kill the 80-point impulsors. Death Company aren't worth it. I think Death Company are worth it if you take them in 10 and give them Lamartas or Astra. Then I think they're worth it. How did I feel with 1 Ballistas? Well, I think I made up for it with the Vindicator tank. The Vindicator tank killed quite a lot of stuff last night. I was second guessing putting the Vindicator tank into reserve. I think having it in reserve was actually perfect, because it meant when it came in, it was just able to mop up a unit with that strength 14 cannon, and then you had nothing in that area that could return fire on it. So I got like another turn of the strength 14 cannon, and then I got another turn. I think they got 3 very solid turns from the Vindicator last night. I think it killed I'm trying to think how many points it killed. I think the Vindicator probably killed at least double its points worth, maybe more. So I actually think the Vindicator was, in terms of raw killing power, the Vindicator might have been. I thought 10 Death Company with Lamartas was an auto take. Well, some people still think it is. And the people that still think it is are not necessarily wrong. But I'm not. When I won the GT in the summer, dude, I didn't take 10 Death Company Lamartas in the summer. And in the summer, Lamartas plus the 10 Death Company was 100% the best way to run them. And the only reason I didn't run them in the tournament in the summer was because they had been the only competitive option for like 18 months or something. Since 10th edition came out, the best way to run Death Company was with Lamartas. So I must have played 50. I play 1 game a week. I only play Blood Angels. So arguably I probably played, maybe not 50, because occasionally I do miss weeks, I do have a real life, I do take the night off to paint now and again. So let's say I played 40 games, and every single game I had 10 Death Company Lamartas. And in the summer, when I think when they changed the rules, so Sons of Sanguinius got the +2 strength, I just made the conscious decision where I was like, right, I'm just going to play Sangre Guard, 10 Sangre Guard with Dante, because I want to play it because I'm bored of playing Lamarta's and the 10 Death Company. So it wasn't even... So yeah, I mean, Lamarta's and the 10 Death Company, they were a very strong pick. I don't necessarily want to say they were an auto pick, though, because like I won a tournament purposely avoiding them. I was only avoiding them because I was bored of them, man. If you only play one army... and there only is one good choice for a specific unit, it does get a little bit boring playing it for an entire year. That's one thing that pisses me off about the Codex, is like there's 100 units in the Codex. There shouldn't be one unit that's so much better than everything else that you just have to play it all the time, right? Rich says, evening Johnny, I missed last night's stream, so look forward to checking it out. I treated myself to 2 gladiators a few days ago and I'm halfway through building them. That's anti-tank sorted. You know that this impulsor I am painting right now, Rich, is a gladiator tank, right? You can choose not to glue the back of it. And you can have it as an impulsor as well, right? This was built from a gladiator tank. I did a video on unboxing of it the other night, but like I have all the other pieces of the gladiator tank in a box that I can just slap onto this. What's the recipe for red? It's lots of coats of Evil Sun Scarlet. It's super bright. I usually do 1 coat of white, like whatever it used to be called Corax white, it used to be called Skull white, whatever the Games Workshop white spray is these days. Then I do a spray of Mephiston red, and then I do 2 thin coats of Evil Sun Scarlet. That is why it's so bright. It's borderline orange is where it's at. So yeah, 1 Ballistus was fine. There wasn't that much firing lines last night on the tabletop, to be honest. That seems to be happening more and more in the new maps. It's like there just isn't as much. Is it called White Scar now? Thanks, Phil. Two fishes in a tank, and one said to the other, "Hey, do you know how to drive this thing? Thing? It's just in a tank." It's a bad dad joke, Phil. Alright, so we've done these 2 side hatches. Is there anything else to paint to make this match? I don't think so. Oh, there was a couple little black. Yeah, we'll do a tiny little bit of black. Yeah, I mean, United Wargamer, send it over to me in a... Can you email it to me? I actually built a snowman last week for my kids, man. We actually had enough snow. We built quite a tall snowman last week, actually. The snowman was at least as tall as me, so it was like 5.5, maybe even 6 feet tall. All that working out in the gym helped for picking up the body and the head, that's for sure, because it was quite heavy. I think it was more of an ice man than a snowman, honestly. I know it's not lore accurate, but I think I'm going to go with Crackle and Rust on all my tanks and vehicles. I mean, why not, dude? I always think this hobby is all about your own spin on things. I like being unique. I've always been a bit weird, I think. So I like the fact that I can be a bit weird, and if I want a unit to be a bit different, or if I want to paint something a bit different, I feel like just do it. Most of the time, if I go to a tournament and someone's got something super unique, it's more of a talking point than a negative thing. It's like, oh cool, you did that yourself, why did you do it that way? You know, it's a cool thing. If I had unlimited time and I didn't have to go to work and I didn't have to look after kids and stuff, I would do more random conversions and stuff like that. Do you think the Blade Guard plus Chaplain is playable with no Impulsor? I mean, it's playable. It's just not ideal. I think the Impulsor makes it a lot a lot more scary, I would say. Just the Impulsor gives you a lot of early game positioning, and also it gives you a lot of early game survivability. It prevents the unit being like picked or alpha striked onto, really. Hi Anthony, how you doing? Is the Evil Sun Scarlet a spray? Normally I paint it on. These models are commissioned, so it will be through the airbrush. I would say all the models that I have done myself, and you know what, I did some of this guy, so this would have been undercoated with an airbrush. You can tell where it's been airbrushed because you get that sort of like darker texture. So that bit would have been airbrushed and this bit in here would have been painted by hand. Under here would probably have been airbrushed, and then the top levels, the armor panels, would have all been painted by hand. This hobby is about making neckbeards cry. I don't even really know what neckbeard means, I must admit. Maybe I'm just too old for all the new slang. I don't try and make anyone cry. I just try and beat them. Play guard with an impulsor take a long time to get up the board. They do. Phil, thank you so much for becoming a company veteran. Dude, that's very much appreciated. I very much like that there's people from Australia that watch me, you know that? My great uncle lives just outside Perth in Australia. I really want to get over and visit him before he gets too much older, but it's difficult, I guess, to get across the other side of the world like that. But thank you very much for supporting me. The email on my channel is correct. I might have missed it. Would you mind just popping it to me again? I'm not going to be upset if you email me twice. I'm going to say I do sometimes. Maybe just thought it was a spam email, or maybe my spam filter caught it or something like that. I don't know. Email it to me again. I'll make sure I look in spam in the next couple of days. One of the things I've noticed about old players is that they play Gotcha Hammer much more. You really think so? I think it possibly just depends on the nature of the player, because one of the strongest players I play against is Gav. Gav typically, Gav played for Team Scotland a bunch of times. Gav's won probably more GTs than anyone I know. He's always up on those top positions. Anytime I've played Gav in a tournament, like I must have played Gav I must have played him like 20 times. I've beaten him once. He's such a good, strong player, and he's the sort of player that when you go to the tape, when you play him in a tournament, he will tell you every single thing about his army before the battle starts. So there is no like Gotcha Hammer. So I think it just depends, right? Like I'm saying, Gav is probably one of the strongest players that I've ever played against, and he tells you everything that every unit, every enhancement, what they can do, why it's strong. Even if you messaged him like before the tournament, like I've had conversations with Gav like on whatever you call it, Facebook Messenger, before the tournament, like talking strategies and stuff, and he would say to me like, so do you know how my army works? So like some people I think are super respectful and will totally tell you everything about their army, and maybe that's just maybe it's just the type of player. I mean, yeah, you know what? There's always going to be someone that wants to gotcha you. Like, those people do exist. I feel like, and this could be the wrong thing to say, I suppose, is like the people that don't gotcha, the people that are respectful, the people that want to want to have those hardest games or whatnot, they're the ones you're going to make friends with after the tournament. They're the ones you're going to keep messaging. They're the ones you're going to talk to again, because you had such a good game with them and everything was kosher. Miguel, happy thanks. Yeah, everybody that's tuning in, I should have called the stream Happy Thanksgiving. But yeah, I think it probably just depends on the player. Like I play super hard to win, but at the same time, like I will occasionally, like I might not, like if it's a tournament game and I'm desperate to win and it's like me and the other player have both won 3 games and it's a super close game and whoever wins the game is going to the final, I'm probably not going to help that player, you know? But like if I'm just, if I'm at the low tables, because there's events that I've gone to where my army's not been super competitive, or I've taken something that's a little bit silly, or I've just tried to have fun. If I'm at a lower table and the game isn't super important to me, if my opponent does something that's like, quote unquote, gonna result in a gotcha, I might say to them like, are you sure you want to put your models there, because I'm going to heroically intervene, or I'm going to overwatch you, or I'm going to whatever stratagem is the gotcha, right? So I think it really depends. Like I wouldn't expect my opponent to tell me if I'm making a stupid mistake. If it's like, you know, like if we're both 4-0 and whoever wins this game wins the tournament, I'm not expecting them to help me. The Giants need to win today. Dude, the Giants ain't winning shit. I don't know, man. I sold my New York Giants. I've lost quite a bit of weight now. And I sold my New York Giants top because it was giant on me, basically. And I was wanting to buy a new one. I'm bloody glad I didn't buy one for Daniel Jones, right? Because that would have been a giant waste of money. But I am wanting to buy a new Giants top, and I was like, I was actually trying to see if we could get one cheap because we've been so bad this season. What's your opinions about Reavers? Scout 6, 25 attacks, Scout 6, that helps with Battle Shock. I mean, I think my issue with Reavers is AP 0, man.
I have awoken.
Oh, Phil. Thank you so much. Go Packers, says Nick. All I know is the Giants are like 2-10, man. They are so bad this season. I've been following the Giants since 2011. I think 2011 was honestly the last year that I was excited. Do you know what? It was maybe like 2016. I think one season we had like a 9-7. We got qualified for the playoffs and then got beat straight away.
I have
Phil, dude, thank you so much for the 10 gifted. Dude, you're a superstar. That is very, very generous, Phil. You don't need to do that. Happy Thanksgiving to you guys in America. Lethal says, hi, I really enjoy your videos, man. I'm currently building my death company to start my Blood Angels army. Welcome to the Blood Angels, dude. It always blows my mind that we get new people, like every week we get new people in here. They're all starting, they're all excited, they just found the videos. Outriders aren't bad, just need to be cheaper. Dude, I've been running Outriders since May. 2 squads, every single army list since May. I don't think they need to be cheaper. They are a good, solid, competitive unit. You just need to use them right. And here's the... I kind of don't want to say this too loud. So like, people from other factions watching the stream learn this. Mr. Trustastic was just summoned with a gifted. There you go. You got Phil to thank for that. Phil's dishing out the Thanksgiving gifted subs. Phil, thank you very much. The Outriders don't do very much damage, right? Like I actually charged 3 Outriders last night into a squad of Rubric Marines. The Rubric Marines had Oath of Moment on them, so I'm re-rolling all hits. I also was +2 strength because of the Blood Angels thing. I was also +1 attack. I actually used Red Rampage to give them +1 to wound, so we wound the Rubric Marines on 2s, and they only kill 3 Rubric Marines. So they don't actually do that much killing. right? Like, they are not a very good unit for damaging. And in the case last night, they did enough to flip the objective over to me and prevent my opponent scoring, which is fine. That's what I needed them to do. But they aren't that much of a damaging unit. But enemies, like non-Blood Angels players, see fast-moving Blood Angels bikes and they think, oh crap, fast-moving Blood Angels bikes, I need to shoot them. So what always happens in my games is people will shoot the Outriders, people will focus on killing the Outriders, and the rest of my Blood Angel stuff's just like doing its Blood Angel stuff. It's doing more killing, it's, you know, it's doing all the things that I need it to do. And like, the grand scheme of things is like, shh, I don't actually care that much about Outriders. They're 4 wounds per model and toughness 5. They're only like 26 points per model. So when they die, it's not, you know, like if they shoot 2 or 3 units and kill, even if they wipe the squad of Outriders, I'm like, well, do I really care? Like, you got to give up something. You're not going to get through a game of 40k without stuff dying. If the thing that's dying is Outriders, I'm like, I actually don't really care about these guys. They're cheap. They're scoring. But I don't need them to win the game, and I'm quite happy for you to use your firepower to shoot them because you're not shooting things I actually care about. So yeah, like I said, I don't want to say it too loud. Everybody realizes and stop shooting Outriders. But Tom, thanks so much for hanging out. Hot take, says chat. I think the Invictus Warsuit can now be good. 125 points with Scout, and we can advance and charge. Big threat range on turn 1 and 2. Yeah, but it doesn't have very much damage output, Chad. And it's not very survivable either. I think for 125 points, I would just take Mephiston. What about adding the Chaplain Biker? They're only AP1 chainswords. I don't think adding +1 to wound makes all that difference. I guess like you would get devastating wounds on a couple of shots. Again, I don't think that makes all that much difference. What, you get like 1 or 2 dev wounds? I think honestly the Chaplain's like 75 points. I'd rather find 5 more points and just have a second squad of Outriders, right? Is that still gifted memberships coming in? No, it's Mike. Hello, Mike. James says, I built my Outrider Sergeant with a power sword, speculatively, in case they get weapon options in the future. Do you know what, James? I did the exact same thing, because I just didn't like it how the Outriders do not get any weapon options. So my one has a power sword as well, the Sergeant. I know we can't have one, but I did it. Hello, Mike. Good evening. For anyone wondering, Mike, member of 29 months, might be painting, he says he might be painting 4 gladiators in January, February. Mike made this one. Well, actually, Mike, you did both of these. So Mike made these. Mike did all the paint jobs on them. I'm just doing the transfers, and I'm like literally the only difference between these two, Mike, was these windows. These windows are silver over here. These little bits here were silver. So I'm just going to quickly match these up, and then I'm going to do transfers. I think you've done a great job on this one. I'm really happy. But yeah, you might be doing another one for me, Mike. So be prepared for that. And also because I made the video, I think some people might be commissioning Mike. So Mike might spend the rest of his life painting and magnetizing gladiators. I mean, there's worse things to do, right, Mike? How did the new one get on last night? I mean, it died in turn 2, but it let me get my company heroes and my rage captain into a really nice position where they were able to survive the rest of the game, which was quite meaningful, and score me some primary points, secondary points, do some actions. It was good. I like 2 impulsors. I think I'm sold on 2 impulsors. I've wanted to run 2 impulsors for a while. Hello, Killer. Hello, Krychek. I don't have 12 Blade Guard veterans. I have 6 Blade Guard veterans, and I'm building that like custom built company hero squad. So probably one of the next things I really like. I know some people really prefer the assault intercessors. I just really love the company heroes. It must have been an act of love. Well, it possibly was an act of love, because this might be about the... How many models have you commissioned for me now, Mike? We've done the Tarak Siege Drill, we've done the Gladiator Lancer, we've done Iron Storm Dreadnought. No, what's it called? We've done one of the box dreadnoughts. We did 10 scouts. We did the Vindicator Laser Destroyer. We did the Impulsor. So there's maybe about 7 things I've commissioned Mike to do for me now. Excuse me. Phil says, as a 2nd edition player, I like my Blood Angels a little red, so I might use your tank recipe. That's literally where my recipe came from, Phil, was... I used to use the old... Do you remember the old paint that they used to do before they changed the names of them? One of the old paints was called Blood Red. And Blood Red was a much brighter... If you remember 2nd edition, Blood Red was a much brighter red than Mephiston Red. And I think when they changed the names of the paints... The closest to Blood Red was Evil Sun Scarlet. Oh, and you did the entire boarding actions terrain for me as well. Yeah, that was a... I was going to say, I feel like that was the biggest ordeal of the commission. I think Mike said after the boarding actions terrain, you'll never do another terrain commission of that magnitude again. I can't remember you... Yeah, so okay. So Mike is my guy. Mike... I was going to say, I don't want to give you too much work, because I need to commission you again next year, Mike, but yeah, if anyone in the UK is looking for Blood Angels commission, watch the video that Mike did or I did with Mike the other day. It was good. I have a bad word to say about it, Mike. I found it before I met Mike, I found it very hard to find reliable Blood Angels commission painters that will also like do what you want, right? Because like I was like very specific. I was like, I want you to use this red, I want you to match my current army. I found that very difficult, so it's good. We've got a rapport now going, so yeah. Basically just gonna keep adding. I've got a drawer of Firstborn Marines. And I must have, let's say I've got 100 Firstborn Marines. I think I'm going to sell them. Because like I don't know why I would go back and do Firstborn Marines. I'm not playing Horus Heresy. I'm focused on 40k. My army last night was a good example, right? Like my army last night, the only 2 Firstborn things I have in my entire list now is a Predator Destructor and a Vindicator. That's it. So I got a Vindicator and a Predator, and everything is all the infantry. Everything is now Primaris. So I'm pretty much only going to ever be painting Primaris. I'm only going to be buying new Primaris. So all my Firstborn bits, like I might keep everything that I've got done. You know, like I've done 25 Sangre Guard, I've done 20 Vanguard Vets, I've done probably like 30 Death Company. I've done a bunch of Tactical Marines, I've done a bunch of Assault Marines, but anything that's half done, so I've got a lot that's half done. Should I just sell them? I'm thinking if I sell all the half-done Firstborn stuff, I'll use it to just commission more Primaris stuff, right? Lyle says, hey John, I used the Indomitus Chaplain as a proxy for my own custom Blood Angels captain. Put a double-edged chainsword on Etsy and a new helmet. Very happy. Curious of your opinion on proxy models. I mean, my opinion isn't really important, right? It's like, if you're going to a tournament, that's the tournament organizer his opinion is the important one, but I use proxies all the time, man. I don't like buying units until I've proxied them at least one on the tabletop, and I just try and be transparent with my opponent, because I hate spending like 50 or 100 bucks and then the time it takes to make all the models and then put them on the tabletop and be like, oh right, this model's dog shit. So I just wasted my money and my time on this model, and I don't like either thing, you know? So I don't mind proxying. I'm often converting models with third-party bits these days. My opinion is it's totally fine. Like, I have no problem with it. The issue you'll have is if you go to Games Workshop tournaments. Because Games Workshop don't like you using third-party bits at their tournaments. The Blood Angels terrain, I woefully undercharged you in hindsight. I'll give you a tip next time. Next time we do a commission, Mike, remind me you woefully undercharged you. Excuse me, remind me that you woefully undercharged me on the train. Because I do think the train was, I can't remember what the price was, but yeah, that train, I've only used it once. We need to get another game of boarding actions on the stream, 100%. Kev did actually buy that new boarding actions book, so there's no excuse. So I will try and get, I'll try and find someone that wants to play boarding actions. I really enjoyed it at the time that we played it. I guess it might be even more enjoyable now with the new Blood Angels Codex too. Good luck, says Crycheck. There's not that much value. I mean, people might still like the value of the Firstborn as like collector's pieces, and or you can use them in Horus Heresy if you play that. Mal says he's repurposed all of his into Horus Heresy. Yeah, well, I mean, some people play Horus Heresy. So I guess if you play Horus Heresy, there's some value in the Firstborn. I mean, I'm not looking to make profit on it, probably. I'm just probably looking to get something from... Even if I got half of what it was worth retail, I'd probably be quite happy. I mean... Am I ever going back to, like, Firstborn Tactical Marines to... Probably not. I've got, like, company veterans on foot with storm shields. Are they ever going to be useful? Have I thought about doing 2 TTS games? Yeah, I can't really do TTS games. I believe technically it's illegal, so I couldn't stream it. I also don't really know when I would have time, no Mac, because I essentially work 6 nights a week on YouTube videos, or I work 6 nights a week on YouTube, so I only take 1 night off. Like, I've got kids and I've got a day job, so I don't know if I could have time to play tabletop simulator. Yeah, I just don't know if I have time. I mean, there's a Discord room. Sorry, there's a Discord channel on the server where we have people that play TTS. So if you're looking for opponents, you can probably definitely find an opponent there. Just not going to be me, I guess. Crycheck's looking at selling his Elder army. Even with the new hype, they're not getting a good return yet. The Codex will help. What do you mean by, like, a good return in the, like, what would you say a good return is? Like, let's just say you bought it for $50. Are you looking for $50, or are you looking for a bit more because it's all painted and done, or? Like, I think if I'm going to sell my Firstborn, I'm just going to put, like, I'm just going to throw them all into one big bundle. I'm just going to throw it on eBay to make it nice and simple and be like, if someone wants it, take it all. If anything Firstborn but Land Raiders is in the next edition, I'll eat my non-existent hat. The only other thing I think might be is a Vindicator tank. But it's doubtful, right? I think Predators are probably going to be replaced with Lancers. I think that the Firstborn Dreadnought, the box knot, is like pretty guaranteed to be gone. So yeah, I really think the only thing that might stay Firstborn would be the Land Raider and the Vindicator. Did you ever go to a GW tournament? I got and get in trouble because your 3D print. I live like 11 hours drive from Warhammer World. So the only time I've been at Warhammer World in the last 5 years was like one time, and I was down that way for other stuff and I'd flown, so I didn't have my army with me anyway. But like here's the thing, like, the biggest tournaments of the calendar, the biggest tournaments aren't even Games Workshop events, right? Like the London GT will be like 100, it'll probably be more. I think it was 300 people this year. So as far as I'm aware, it's only tournaments where you're going to like Games Workshop premises that are the problem. Usually, like any local tournament you go to, they usually distribute a tournament pack, and the tournament pack probably usually says something like proxies are allowed as long as they're a pretty accurate representation of the model. So I kind of feel like it's not like I wouldn't like I might quite like to go to a Games Workshop tournament at some point. I do feel like I quite fancy it. If I do it, I'll just not take 3D printed stuff that time. The Rumour engine had a new repulsor type engine previewed, so it could be a new Vindicator tank. Redrum says 800. 800 what? I heard a rumour today, actually. $800 at the London GT this year. Yeah, so I'm sure at the London GT they don't give a crap about proxy models, right? Or there's probably something in the tournament pack that says, like I said, if it says, you know, if the model accurate or closely accurately represents what you're trying to show, then it's fine, right? I really struggled with myself to get the Crimson Lords bits. Oh, I've been firing Crimson Lords onto every single model, dude. Like, I could not care less. I mean, technically the Crimson Lord stuff you're actually modeling for disadvantage. So if you took it to a tournament, you're actually giving yourself a disadvantage because you've got a bigger jump pack on the model. Like, I tried to like those new GW Sangre Guard. I tried, I dry fitted the head on the stream and everything, and I was like, I just don't like it. Some people in the community do quite like the new ones. So I guess if people like the new ones, more power to them. Everybody's got their own opinion. My opinion was like, it just didn't feel like it had the same flavor as the old Sangre Guard. I just didn't like it. So yeah, every model I'm building now basically has Crimson Lord parts on it. Jump packs, helmets, shoulder pads, they're all bigger than the GW pieces, so basically I'm just giving myself a disadvantage every single step of the way. But they just look cooler, man. I like to win tournaments, don't get me wrong. I felt very, very happy to win my first GT earlier this year. Like, so fucking happy, actually, because I've been trying to do it for so long. But at the same time, like, I'm not gonna give up my rule of cool, I guess. Like, so yeah, as happy as I was, or as desperate as I was to win a tournament, it doesn't mean that I'm not gonna settle for average looking models. I want my Blood Angels to look cool. I spend too much time, money, and effort on them to not look cool. I am indeed from Scotland, dude. I'm like, if you look at a map of Scotland, I am 5 miles from the north coast. So I am near a beach, but the beach that I am near borders the North Sea. That's literally the name of the sea, the North Sea. So it's not the warmest beach in the world. Why didn't I go to the major last weekend? Because I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, man. And Scotland, it would... I mean, like I said, I'm 5 miles off the north coast, so it would be like a 4-hour round trip to probably get to Glasgow. Actually, it's probably more like 4.5 hours to get to Glasgow. So, if I didn't have a young family, yeah, I mean, sure. I'm going to GT in January. It's just a GT that's only 45 minutes drive from where I live, right? So for me, it really comes down to I need to be close to home at the moment, anyway, and it's been that way for me for like a good few years, I guess. The tournaments that I've been to that have been furthest away from home, I went to when I only had one kid. And my kids are just at a very young age, so I'd like to go to Las Vegas Open one time, you know that? I think that would be a cool event to go to. But yeah, I knew there was a big event in Glasgow, but it's just, it would mean multiple nights away from home. That's also not super easy as well, right? Because like, I suppose if you don't have kids, you probably don't know the way that finances work when you have kids. But when you have kids, a lot of your finances go on the kids, right? So it's like, my wife isn't working at the moment because she's looking after the kids. So, you know, if I need $300 or something to stay over at a tournament or whatnot, and I want to do that regularly, it's not the easiest thing in the world. How do I feel about the list in the Thousand Sun game? I think it was okay. I mean, I hadn't played Thousand Suns, like I said, and probably like I think that might be the first Thousand Suns game on the channel. I cannot remember. Maybe there was one before, because I remember getting beat by Thousand Suns once before. Gav was playing Thousand Suns and I got beat before. So maybe it might be the first Thousand Sun game on the channel. If not, it's the first Thousand Sun game in like at least like 3 years. Definitely the first 10th edition Thousand Sun game, and I definitely made some mistakes, but I also didn't know really entirely what they did, right? Like I couldn't believe that how much damage his shooting and his doom bolts could do. So I think my list did okay. I guess if I play Thousand Suns again, I've learned a few things that I know I need to do, and units I need to hide from, units that I don't need to underestimate. So I feel like I learned a few things, but overall I think the list was decent. I think I preferred it to the list from the week before. So I think dropping one unit of Death Company to add in, and I guess I had to drop a unit of Jump Intercessors as well to add that second Impulsor. I think that was good. And I think having the Vindicator tank, like, what did I have last night? A Predator, a Vindicator tank, and Ballistus. I think that was better than the Ballistus, the two Ballistuses we had the week before. So I think the list was last night was good. We argue over using printed jump packs. Meanwhile, Custodes would have to buy two £130 buck tanks if you don't go to printed proxy. That's because they're Forge World tanks. I've got Forge World tanks that have gone to Legends, man. It sucks, but I guess it happens to everybody. Custodes did very well, though. They won the team championships, did they not? Mike says I'm going to try and come up for the tournament next year. Oh yeah, we did run a GT here where I live last year as well. And we are going to run another GT here, I think, this summer. Like, I can go to tournaments, I just can't be away from home for too long. Plus, we only have one car, so if I have to take the car to a tournament, then my wife's kind of stuck in the house with both kids. And we live in like a suburb, so... I mean, you can walk into town, but with the kids, it would take like an hour. And walking an hour with a 2-year-old isn't really fun. Hey, crazy cat guy. What are you doing tonight? Why are you here and why are you not with your cats? You're building a Furioso. Phil says I need to think outside the Lost Brethren detachment. Yeah, Death Company are not what they once were, huh, Phil? there was a period, I suppose, a year ago where it was like, a year ago I was saying to people, don't turn up without 15 Death Company in your list. Now I'm like, you want like 5 Death Company. You could probably actually make Blood Angels without, like, you would probably just go 2 units of Sangre Guard and have no Death Company now. I mean, people are still doing okay with them, but the loss of the pistols, man, I think that's maybe more meaningful than you realise. Am I going to review some of the WCW lists? I think so. I got sent some of them. I kind of got sent them at the weekend, and I had an idea of another video and I kind of forgot about it. So I was thinking maybe I could do them next week. Because I got into making this week's video, and sometimes when I get in, like, because I always try and make that video for Friday, and sometimes when I make that video for Friday, like, it starts out with like a small idea, and then before I know it, I'll be up at like midnight still trying to get my script together, and it turns into a bit of a behemoth. And that's what that happened this week, right? Like, my wife came up and said to me, she's like, good night. And I was like, oh, you're going to bed? What time is it? And she's like, midnight. And I was like, oh, mother effer. I was like, I didn't want to spend my entire evening working on this video, but I guess that's what I've done. So this video this week is a bit of a behemoth. I didn't intend it to be. That's usually how the creative juices go on YouTube. The opposite for me now. The 10-man Death Company brick with Lamartas is absolutely insane. I mean, it's a lot worse than it was. Still think it's a good unit, but I think there's a lot of things that can counter that 10-man brick with Lamartas now, right? And I guess it doesn't help that one of my most reliable opponents is Death Guard, and they just tend to ignore the -1 damage entirely and just they essentially neuter Lamartas, which is a little annoying, but I mean, I guess it is what it is. I hope they don't retire the Firstborn tanks as killer. Well, I think they're going to. Like, I hope they weren't going to retire a bunch of Blood Angels models or units or whatever. But they have retired. They have retired basically most of the Firstborn at this point, right? Like, we can hope they're not going to retire the Firstborn tanks. I would say if any of the Firstborn tanks beyond the Land Raider survive into 11th edition, you should be very happy, but I feel like there's a good chance that none of them will survive. I really think there's a very good chance that none of those Firstborn tanks will survive. I mean, a lot of people have been saying the Land Raider is safe. But I mean, you guys are all just speculating. You're all, it's like, what do they call it? Copium? You're crossing your fingers, you're hoping. It's too iconic. I don't know if iconic necessarily equals profits, man. I'd like you guys to be right. I just don't know. Just don't know. We'll see it. I'll believe it when we see it, I guess. And I mean, here's the thing. A lot of the decisions lately, I feel like, have gone... a lot of the decisions are based around, like, shareholders, right? Like, those shareholders got to get their money. You don't make money by not retiring stuff, I guess. What else was I going to say? Yeah, Marius says there is a tournament in Veruri Gaming Group. I know. Well, that's the other thing for me, Marius. Like, I can't go to more than one event a month. My kids are at an age where, like, I can't do that. My wife has the kids for, like, I was gonna say, so I leave the house for work at 8. I get home probably somewhere between like 6 and half 6. So my wife literally has the kids for 10 hours every day. If I had to look after my kids by myself for 5 days a week, 10 hours a day, yeah, I think at some point, I would just jump out of a window, right? You ever seen that, the IT crowd where the guy just jumps out the window? He's like, yeah, screw this. 2 kids that young is hard friggin' work, man. You think you're a good father, or you think you're doing well in life, and then get left with a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old for 10.5 hours and see if you still feel you're doing well in life. Because at that point I'm like, oh my goodness, the patience that you need is crazy. So yeah, like it's very good my wife even lets me to go to 1 tournament a month. I can't be like some of my friends do it. Some of my friends are just like, oh, I'm going to like 3 events this month. I'm like, I mean, I could. My wife is very good, but I'm not willing to do it to her, right? Like, it's too much taking care of the kids like that. It's like taking care of your drunk friend. Yeah, exactly. And you can't turn your back for a minute, because if you turn your back for a minute, they'll, you know, the amount of times I've said to Michael, like, stop climbing on the furniture. And then I walk into the living room and he's like sat. We've got like a single chair. He's 2. And he sat on top of the chair back. If he falls off that, we are definitely ending up in the emergency room. And I keep saying to him, like, Michael, stop climbing on the chair. Like, I must say to him every weekend, 10 times, please stop climbing on the furniture. He just doesn't, you know, like, well, he does listen. He listens and then chooses not to do what I ask, you know? And it's like, yeah. Anomalies in the pension fund, exactly. there's anomalies. I can't even say it. Anomalies in the pension fund, and then he just jumps out the window. Yeah. That's exactly what it feels like having a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. They're just. I think if you have 1 kid, they're fine. If you've got 2 and they're playing off each other, it's a disaster, man. So yeah, I know I know that another local group is starting their first tournament in January. I'm actually excited about that. Like, I hope that local group gets some momentum going. I'd love to come in the future. Like 100% I will be there for a future event. But I already committed to that 1 event in January, and I just can't do 2 GTs in a month, or just can't do 2 events in a month. I'm basically at the point where I can do 1 every quarter. Any more than that, and like, it just feels unfair on my wife. She needs the weekends. I can't not give her that for like long periods of time. It's crazy. Once you have 2 kids, you'll understand, trust me. Yeah, keep me posted about further events, Marius, 100%. I mean, anywhere I can drive to in like an hour, it's fair game for me to go to an event. Because if I can get home for the evening as well, so I can like help out with the kids in the evening, that's like a bonus. So that's why I ended up going, because there was an event in there's an event in Ellen. The Ellen would probably mean an overnight stay, whereas like the event in Inverness means that I can drive down and I can drive home in the same day after the event, so I can be back in the evening. So that's why I decided to do that one. The number of times we've taken our kid to the doctor because she fell on her head. Yeah. Phil says 2 kids, single dad life, I feel you. Yeah. Being a parent is like the best thing you'll ever do, but it's also like the hardest thing you'll ever do, right? Marius is feeling guilty about doing 2 events in one month as well. Yeah, I just Andrew's always asking me, Marius, because like Andrew, like you said, Andrew's very popular. Andrew goes to like every local event, and he's always and Andrew runs a lot of 1-day RTTs as well, and he's always like, oh, you can just come for 1 day. And I was like, yeah, I can just come for 1 day, but I want to. It's not that I don't like RTTs, but if I'm limited on how many events that I can go to, I'd rather go to 2-day GTs, I guess. I just think that day 2 is usually more epic. Or day 2 you'll get you'll get harder opponents or something like that. I don't know. 1 day events are fine, but I think I prefer the 2 day ones. Like, I like getting my teeth stuck into it, if that makes sense. The closest store to me is 2 hours by train and 1 hour by bus, and going back is 4 hours because the train and bus time don't align. Well, yeah. It's hard, isn't it, being a gamer when you're older? I occasionally think to myself, like, how easy my life might have been if I decided to not have kids and stuff like that, but I think you get to a point where, like, you could never go back. And hey, in like 10 years' time, my kids will go away from home, and then maybe I will fly myself into more events. It's not like I'm ever going to stop 40k, I feel like. And James, who was on the channel last year, has like invited me over to oh, there's a big tournament in not California, there's a big tournament in Chicago. So apparently he was like, you need to come to Chicago, we're going to go to this event in Chicago. You can stay with me or whatever. So I think it would be quite cool to go to America for an event at some point. Jason's going to the Cherokee Open in February. Sorry, Cherokee. Where about? Which state is that in America? I'm not very good in American geography. Quicks, good evening. If Dante taught us anything, that you're never too old to be a Blood Angels commander. There you go. Snicks, that's very nice. I think that goes for everybody here, though. You're never too old to represent the Blood Angels, right? We do have some pretty old people in the chat. Like, occasionally when I say I'm getting old at 41, there's always someone in the chat who's like, oh, I'm 55, John, you're a young one yet. Yeah, you're never too old to play Warhammer. The only thing I'm worried about, if I get much older, I was like, I hope I don't... My vision's getting pretty bad. So I'm like, I hope my vision stays good enough where I can still paint shit. Because it is getting quite bad, I feel like. That's my one worry. North Carolina, mountain coast east of US. Okay. So north or south of New York then? Do you know what? That doesn't actually help me at all, because... who's the youngest person here? If you're under 18, please don't answer that. I don't think it matters, but just probably best not to, right? We definitely have some old timers, because there's always people that come in and tell me that I'm young. And I'm 41 now. I'm in full midlife crisis mode. I'm always 21. There you go. Good answer. You've got a gene seed. You're never growing old. I envy my parents. 3 kids, worked at the same university, and what do? I lived 23 years after uni in a forest. There's never a zero chance, Petria? Is that how you say it? Pitori? I feel like there's never zero chance, man. Don't... gonna say, like, life can throw negative shit at you. I feel like life will throw negative shit at you. Everybody will get negative stuff thrown at them. The situation, work, you know, whatever you've got going on, where you live. I feel like there's always a chance. There's never 0% chance that you're stuck or you're trapped or whatever you want to call it. Right, my intention is to spend a few more minutes touching up a couple of bits in red, probably that I made a mistake on, and then figure out a few transfers, I think. Yeah, I don't know how you say your name, Pittori, but yeah. I've been in some dark places in my life, man. And like, yeah, life can be hard, man. I hope you can figure it out. I do think, like, if you're in a shit situation, the first thing you should try and do probably is try and just look at every positive you can, or take every positive you can, or try and see the positives. You can call me Peter. Okay, cool. Well, I hope you can figure it out, Peter. And now the Codex has been out like a month or two, maybe 2 months. Yeah, because I've played like 5 games, 6 games with the new Codex. Is there any units or is there any models that you've had in your list that have surprised you, that you're liking more than you thought you might, or is there anything in the Codex that surprised people? Like, I think most of the stuff that we thought we would see in terms of like competitive stuff has kind of been uniform. Like, a lot of people running 6 Sangre Guard, a lot of people running Dante, a lot of people running Fight First Captains, or the Rage Captain, you know? Like, has anyone noticed anything that's like really surprised them? Terminators are doing better than I thought. Do you know what? I have got a video. Tomorrow's video includes Terminators. Tomorrow's video is a behemoth, and it's got a big section about Terminators and how to best use Terminators. Because I've been kind of thinking the same. Like, I haven't used Terminators yet, but I've been kind of thinking to myself, like, am I not, like, I'm running Blade Guard and Impulsor, I know that's good, but like, how do Terminators actually fare up? Like, are they worth running in a unit of, like, let's say 5 with a chaplain or something? Is that something that's worth running? So I've got actually quite a lot of data on Terminators tomorrow. Biggest surprise is Mephiston, even with his randomness, he's insane. Insanely good or insanely bad? I assume that if you're saying insane, you probably mean good. I haven't used Mephiston yet, I must admit. We are all indeed Blood Angels here. I appreciate the positivity. N-man brick for life. Alright, you maybe you've taken the positivity a little bit too far, Nomac, but, you know, we'll let you off. You say it's uniform, but the list you reviewed, I was surprised at the variety. I did think it was quite a good variety, I must admit. I like the fact that we had some people doing double Vindicator tank, because I actually just really... I haven't running double Vindicator tank at the moment. I think it's a little bit tricky to play. But I did like the fact that a few people were doing... You know, like a few people did really, really well in tournaments with double Vindicator tank, and I was like, double Vindicator tank is just fun, man. If you manage to get both tanks to hit the same target, it's just a stupid amount of strength 14 shots, isn't it? And that is actually just really fun. It's just like, oh my god, you're hitting me with how many strength 14 shots? So I like the fact that a couple of people had done well with the double Vindicator. I thought that was cute. Miles 39? Yeah, I think the demographic for my channel, because YouTube shows me my demographic, I think the biggest demographic I've got is like males. I think it's 34 to 45, or maybe it's there's two brackets there. It's like 25 to 34, 35 to 44 maybe. So like those are my biggest demographics. Like most people that watch me, like 70% of my audience are male, between 25 and 44, which I kind of find interesting, because it's like, are all Warhammer, like, we know not all Warhammer fans are male and that age, but then there's a weird thing, like, do people just want to watch, you know, like if I do watch stuff on YouTube, so like when I watch stuff on YouTube, do I watch males of similar age to I am? Like maybe there's something relatable there, because that's, you know, like subconsciously almost. So that is the audience. That is the majority of the people that watch. That's like 70% of the people that watch the Blood Angels Commander channel. Did I just assume your demographic? No, but I'm saying that's an interesting thing for me to think about. Not that I know anything about demographics, and not that I know how to expand my demographic. Like, I'm just saying it makes it interesting for me to see that, like, the people that watch me, a good portion of them are basically me, right? Like, in terms of just an age and gender, maybe. And there's something, like I said, I don't know how you change that, or I don't even know if it needs changing or if it needs fixed, but it's a weird thing. For me, it's a weird thing to see in the demographic, or it's a weird thing to see in the analytics, right? Smash the like button. Yes, please do that. I know that I'm talking about random shit that's not Warhammer, but I do talk a lot of random shit. That's what I do on my live streams. If you ask a Warhammer specific question, I'll do my damnedest to answer it, though, I promise you. I just will talk a lot of random shit, though, as well. Blood Angels have a type. And you are actually at 35 mil, so it's spot on. Yeah, well, I guess, like I said, it's a weird thing, because I watch, like, one of the things that I've been doing over the last 6 months is I've been doing a lot more fitness. Do you know what? I've probably been on the fitness journey for longer, but only recently have I been, like, I guess trying to actually watch what I eat and stuff. Like before I would just do cardio blindly, and now I'm maybe watching a little bit more of what I eat. But it's like I don't necessarily search for creators my age and sex, but that's what YouTube recommends. So it's like the damn YouTube algorithm knows everything about everybody. It's just a fine-tuned machine, I guess. Would you ever try World Eaters? I mean, in terms of like playing a game as World Eaters, I kind of know most of their units, right? I know what they do. Angron, Karn, the Berserkers and the Rhinos, the 8-bound with their pre-game movement. I mean, some of them might have changed since I last played World Eaters. I am playing Andrew's World Eaters on Wednesday night. Andrew has now decided that he wants to be a World Eaters player. So next Wednesday we're playing Andrew's World Eaters. That is a thing that will happen. I don't think there's any reason for either of us to cancel. If one of us does cancel for some reason, then it'll just be the week after probably. So I'm going to be playing against World Eaters. It's not like I dislike World Eaters as a faction. I made a decision when I came back to Warhammer like 8 years ago. Because when I came back to Warhammer 8 years ago, I had like 4 armies. I had Guard, I had Orcs, and I had Eldar. But I also had like the plan to have a family, and I also had a crap load of Pile of Shame. So I decided to just focus on the Blood Angels. And it's so, you know, like, so literally if I picked any of those other factions, because I had 4 factions, I had Guard, I had Orcs, and I had Eldar, I could have picked any of the other 3. I just picked Blood Angels because I probably had the most Blood Angels models, and they probably had the most paint on them. I would have been fucking Eldar Commander, you're right, yeah. Or it would have been Orc Commander, or it would have been Guard Commander. So there's a lucky, it's like I made that decision on a whim. It was like, I've got 4 armies, I'm just going to keep one of them, and I'm going to focus my time on that, because just when I was a kid, when I had 4 armies, nothing ever got finished. I barely even managed to finish when I've got 1 army. The dogging Orc Commander, exactly. So I just randomly picked Blood Angels, and that's the messed up thing for me, is like, I put literally no brain power into that decision. I just went like, I got the most Blood Angels, that's my army. And like 10 years on, I guess now I'm the biggest Blood Angels channel on YouTube, but it could have been very different, right? Blood Angels was the best pick. Well, I know that now, but at the time I was just picking like my collection of what I had when I was a kid, and I gave all the Orcs that I had to Brett. And Brett gave me a crap load of half-painted Space Marines and stuff, and I gave all the Orcs I had... Sorry, all the Orcs went to Brett. I gave all of the... Because I had some other stuff. I gave all of the Eldar to Kev. And he gave me a bunch of Space Marine stuff as well. And then I gave all of my Guard stuff to Andrew, and Andrew's a 3D printing maniac, and he has printed anything that I've wanted for the last God knows how many years, and he's never charged me a cent. So, do you know what? He has charged me a couple of times, but for the most part, if I want something 3D printed, I just have to give him an STL and he'll 3D print it, and very rarely does he ever charge me. So, yeah, that was it. You could have been painting a lot of red Orcs, Mike, yes. And do you know what? Red's not even my favourite colour in real life, so that's a funny one, isn't it? Mephiston is a scary countercharge piece. I think that's the trick with Mephiston, is he's so random your opponents don't really know how to deal with him. He can be insanely strong, but he can also just be like a wet flannel, right? But yeah, no, I mean, World Eaters are great. As a faction, I think they're a cool faction. I always have good games against World Eaters. I actually kind of like the dynamic in that, like, they are a little bit better than us at combat. We can usually win the game because we can add some spice with some shooting units. And having played World Eaters at a few tournaments, I definitely feel like my shooting units have been worth the weight in gold against the World Eaters. In I think it was 9th edition, I played World Eaters, and I used Gladiator Reaper, back when the Reaper was like really popular. I used a Gladiator Reaper against the World Eaters, and it was really, really good. What is secretly kind of good is Angelic Host with the Inceptors. Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen too many people like focusing too hard on Angelic Host, but I do think Inceptors and Angelic Host is the way to go, right? Like Plasma Inceptors, probably really strong in Angelic Host. Alright, I'm pretty close to being ready to do some transfer goodness. Hey Nas, how you doing? My scouts move blocking WEs to keep them boxed in. That's a good call, actually. That's one thing that I feel a little bit sad about. My current list has no scouts. So I do like scouts, and I do think like there's certain armies or there's certain matchups or there's just certain positions, like you said, like being able to box in an opponent with a unit of scouts can actually be very powerful. What would you like to see in the Christmas detachment? So someone asked me that in Discord today, and I've got an answer, but I don't think we're going to get to see it. So I like, do you remember when you were young and you wanted to set the world on fire? Only a few people know that song, but do you remember when we had the Smash Captain? There was like the 128 point Smash Captain who could... Oh, hey, thanks so much for the 10 gifted 10 subs. Dude, that is super generous, man. Thank you very much. I don't often get people coming on and giving gifted on Twitch. I do really appreciate it. Yeah, I was going to say, do you remember when we had that crazy Smash Captain? He had an enhancement that let you do he had an enhancement that prevented Overwatch. And he also had a stratagem that allowed him to do a 3d6 charge. It was 8th edition, correct. Slamguinius is what everybody called him. Yes, he was a captain with a Storm Shield and a Thunderhammer. I believe the Storm Shield gave him a 3-up invulnerable save. So he was 128 points. He had a 3-up invulnerable save. He had about 10 attacks. He could have a 4 damage Thunderhammer. And he could fight twice. And I can't remember exactly. I think he hit on 3s and he rerolled 1s, right? That was for all the Star Wars Galaxies carries back in the day. Are you seriously a Star Wars Galaxies player? Oh, is this you, Nasser? You crazy man. I've been making a video about Star Wars Galaxies, actually. I've at least been putting all my screenshots together from back in the day in Star Wars Galaxies. Yes, it's Nasser. Oh, dude, thanks very much for the gifted. Yeah, I've got like a slideshow of Star Wars Galaxies screenshots. It's like 20 years since Star Wars Galaxies. I missed that game. Fucking WoW killed it. Fucking WoW. But yeah, do you remember you used to get a 3d6 charge? That's what I was looking for. That's what I miss. 3d6 charge. I'll link you when the Star Wars Galaxies video is made. You'll be in it, Nasser. Volker's thinking about joining one of the new Star Wars Galaxy servers. I always feel a little bit like I would like to go back and play Star Wars Galaxies, but I also do wonder that that game took so much time to do anything. And I think that's the thing that puts me off about playing Galaxies again. Like, I played Galaxies when I was 20 and I had unlimited free time. Well, not unlimited, but a lot of free time. 3d6 charge was dope. Yeah, so he had an enhancement that meant he just had all the rules. So he had a 3-up invulnerable save. He had like a 4 damage Thunderhammer. I believe he had an enhancement that meant he couldn't be overwatched. Like you weren't allowed to overwatch him. And he had What's the other thing you had? Oh yeah, you could fight twice. So basically, you had this guy with a Thunderhammer. I think Thunderhammers might have been AP3 then as well. Oh, you probably had +1 to wound as well. So basically you just had like this thunder, you could kill anything. I was thinking what I would like for the Blood Angels detachment is I would like the 3d6 charge back. That's what I would like. Like if there's one thing, a stratagem that lets us do a 3d6 charge. So it's like the proper death from above detachment where we can just put any unit into deep strike and we can charge anything whenever we like. And we can have do you know what? We need the 3d6 charge, but we need the +1 to charging as well. So we just have like this super reliable 3d6 charge that we can just use whenever the hell we like. That's what I want to see. That would be my dream for the Blood Angels detachment. Yeah, when in Star Wars Galaxies, when Jedi were really rare, I was like one of the top Jedi on the server. I played that game too much. Everybody thinks of like WoW as the first big MMO. Galaxies was like big before WoW, I guess. I honestly think it was a better game. It was just, I think it was I guess it was more hardcore game. And the WoW audience, as much as people think like classic WoW was hardcore, if you put it next to Galaxies, it was not hardcore at all. I remember Composite Armor Jedi, yeah. We remember that. Highland Phoenix loved Keep Knights of the Old Republic 2. Was that better than the first one? I thought the first one was a bit better. I played the first Knights of the Old Republic on the Xbox. The Xbox One? No, but not like the Xbox One. The first Xbox, whatever the Xbox when it was like brand new, like this I think it was out at the same time as the PlayStation 2. Why the hell did they name one of the newer ones Xbox One? That's super confusing. "3D6 had the real army of dead. Full Death Company Scouts, Death Company Bikers, Death Company everything. D6 extra move, 25% more." Yeah, I mean, I don't know how competitive this new detachment is going to be. But, it would be nice if it was kind of like a throwback, wouldn't it? There were a pile of popular MMOs before WoW. Yeah, there was, but for some reason people seem to think that like the MMO genre started with WoW, man. I guess I feel like WoW is the first mainstream MMO. I think that's where it, like, before WoW, MMOs were not mainstream, and WoW was the first mainstream one, and it changed a lot of people's perceptions of MMOs or whatever. And like I said, I don't even think WoW is the best MMO ever. It just right place, right time, right balance of hardcore and casual, because an MMO is kind of hardcore in a way, and classic WoW was pretty, to an extent, classic WoW was pretty hardcore, but like Galaxies was way more hardcore than classic WoW. WoW just applied to a wider audience. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was like right place, right time. I guess the audience was ready to accept MMOs, and WoW just was in the right place. And I honestly hated WoW for about 10 years. Like, I play WoW still now and then. Pretty much played every expansion, at least a little bit. But I hated WoW for like 10 years because it killed Galaxies. Not losing XP on death. Yeah. You know that in in Galaxies, if you died, originally anyway, you just dropped all your gear when you died. It could have taken you months, literally months, to get that gear. If you died in a dungeon, or if you died in a difficult to get to area, your gear was just gone. Like it didn't matter that you'd taken months to get that gear. It's on the floor in a dungeon, and if you can't get back to that gear is gone. Like I said, it was way more hardcore, but I think the hardcoreness probably stopped it becoming popular, right? For the people that were invested in it, it was dope. I would honestly love to get back into, like if I think it was Sony Online, if they brought the game back out, Star Wars Galaxies, as it was at launch, and it was ready to go, I would love to play it again. I just don't think I would have the time to play it, but it was so good when it first came out. How many points would you pay for a model that does 6 attacks at strength 16, 2 AP, flat 3 on the charge? Well, which model has strength 16, AP 2, flat 3 on the charge? The Invictor Warsuit? Is that what you're talking about here? I think the thing with Invictor Warsuit is you've got to look at it like objectively, right? So it gets 6 attacks. Alright, it's probably going to have weapon skill 3 up. So you missed 2. So now you've got 4 hits. Alright, let's just say you're attacking assault intercessors. Alright, 4 hits. Let's say you wound 3 times, because you might fail 1, right? Even if we say, let's be nice and say, okay, you hit all 4 times. You wound all 4 times. Well, it's only AP 2. So they're going to save at least 1 or 2. So, like, that's the issue I've got with the Tactical Warsuit, is like, with 1 singular bad wound roll and one extra spiked save, all of a sudden your Warsuit killed a single Tactical Marine. And that's my issue with it, Chad, is like, I just don't... The Alpha Strike, like, when you look at it on paper, you go strength 16, AP 2, 3 damage, looks pretty good. But in reality, the tiniest little bit of like 1 failed wound roll, 1 extra save or something, and it's like all of a sudden you've spent 125 points for this turn 1 Alpha Strike that has just done nothing. And that's why I don't like the Tactical Warsuit. That's why I don't play it. That's why I don't really recommend it. And it's probably why you don't really see it in tournament play, right? It's just not reliable enough. It's not enough AP for me. I've literally done that exact thing, right? I've put a Tactical Warsuit on the front lines. I've made that turn 1 charge, and it's been the most anticlimactical thing ever. And then they just literally mopped up my Tactical Warsuit, and I got like I said, I think when I did it, maybe I killed 2 intercessors. And I was like, oh my god, this thing kills nothing. You know, like, I shot everything I had at these intercessors, I charged them turn 1, I was feeling like, cool, got this Tactical Warsuit forward, this is going to be really impactful, and it did nothing. I mean, it didn't do nothing, it killed 2 intercessors, but then they just fell back from it and had half their army shoot, and it's now super out of position because you made that turn 1 charge. So I don't know how you use it, Chad. Because if it's out of position in turn 1, it just dies, and it doesn't provide all that much value. Path of Exile 2. I do actually have a question about that, because it's been blowing up all over YouTube. Everybody's talking about Path of Exile 2. I never played the first one. I did play the new Diablo game, and it does seem like it's going to be better than the new Diablo game. And I think it's going to be free, right? Could be wrong, but I feel like it's going to be free. So if it's free, I feel like I could try it. I don't know anything about... I've never played Path of Exile. I just heard that it's going to be better than the new Diablo game. I played the new Diablo game. I honestly didn't play it for that long. Like, maybe I did like 30 hours on it. I played the first one, but somehow these games get too complicated for me at some point. Yeah, see, I'm playing, I'll be pretty casual, man, because I don't get a whole lot of time these days to play video games. That's why, as much as like I would love to go back and play Star Wars Galaxies, I don't know if I would have time, and if I wanted to do it, it would have to be like an official server, and I don't think they'll ever exist again. It's a pity, because if you are a Star Wars fan, which I was a huge Star Wars fan, Star Wars Galaxies might have been the most fun I've ever had in a video game. Like when it was at its peak before WoW launched, or right around the time WoW launched, it was amazing. And it felt more like a living, breathing world to me than WoW ever felt like. And don't get me wrong, I bet you if I logged in my WoW character and typed, I think in WoW you can type /played, I'll have a ridiculous amount of hours on my WoW character. It's, Diablo 2 is where it's at. Do you know what, VT? I am looking very much forward to the day where my daughter is old enough to play Diablo 2. She's 5. I think I got into Diablo 2 when I was like maybe 10 or 11 or something. Second, I feel like she's old enough. Like one weekend, I'm just gonna like set up like a computer for her somewhere, probably right next to me in this office, and we're just gonna play the whole campaign of Diablo 2. I loved Diablo 2 when I was growing up. It might be one of my all-time favorite games. I have too many hours to mention the original Path of Exile. It's so good. Path of Exile 2 is going to be free to play. There's no pay to win. Some pay for convenience, but you can clear everything without paying. How do they make money then? What? They must do microtransactions, but to like, what do the microtransactions get you? I've heard that Path of Exile 2 is supposed to be like what Diablo 2 was, and Blizzard's got like. Blizzard Diablos are so far away from Diablo 2 these days. Like I'm more excited to play Diablo 2 with my daughter than any of the new Diablos, like 3 or 4. I've completed 3 and 4. I think 2 is just the best one. I think even Diablo 1 is probably more. I think I prefer Diablo 1 to 3 or 4, honestly. The curse of being a grown-up. It is a curse, isn't it? It's a blessing and a curse. People really like the game, so people pay. That's cool. If you can make that business model work, more power to you, I guess. But yeah, I feel like Blizzard kind of not necessarily shit the bed, but I don't know if you know what that... Like, basically, shit the bed is maybe a Scottish saying, and it just means, like, you done fucked up, basically. Like, you took a number 2 in the bed, and you really messed up. And I feel like that is all Blizzard have been doing. I used to be the biggest fan of Blizzard ever. Used to play all their games. But yeah, no, I feel like they shit the bed. Which is sad, because since Activision took over, I don't know. I mean, I don't think the Activision thing has helped much, but yeah, no, I think they maybe started to shit the bed before that, because they used to make games that people like. They used like StarCraft. StarCraft was awesome, I haven't played StarCraft in years, but like, I love StarCraft. Such a good game. So they used to just probably like, at some point these giant companies get rid of the people that knew what was making them profitable, and they get like shareholders in, I guess, right? The shareholders just want to make money and affect the bottom line. Mario says, I once had the best Easter holiday playing Diablo 1 with my family back in 2008. It was so much fun, especially as the internet had been down. Do you know what? When I first... You'll maybe get a kick out of this. So when I first played Diablo 1 online, that was back when you essentially had to make a phone call to connect to the internet, right? So like when I first played Diablo 1 online, it cost like 2 pence a minute to play. Because you basically had to phone up. You basically had to phone, the internet wasn't always on, that shit. So God, God knows how much I probably spent playing Diablo 1 online, but probably quite a lot actually. I have one build in StarCraft 2, Dark Templar Rush. How dare you call out my crappy StarCraft builds? How very dare you? I'm sure I beat you with Dark Templar Rush at some point. What's not to like about invisible guys that just kill you while they're still invisible? What? I feel like I definitely beat you with the Dark Templar Rush. Like at least once, surely. The one time you didn't know it was happening. I've just become a member, but I haven't heard the Dreadnought say I have awoken. Really? Sometimes my bot does like to lag. I feel like because I don't pay my bot, Gareth, it just decides to like take some time off. You know, he's like on. The bot's free, so basically, like, he's on strike. He will only. I was gonna say he only talks like half. I basically have to restart that bot all the time. I need to invest in a paid-for bot.
I have awoken.
Alright, he speaks to you, Marius. You do get a free super chat by being a member now, Gareth, and you do also get access to the members-only Discord. So please, I was gonna say, please come over and use the members-only Discord. If you can't, you can type !Discord and the bot should, assuming he's actually working and not taking the night off, the bot should give you the Discord link. You can get into the members only Discord. You know what, Mike? I love your commission work. This is like getting the tank like this, where I just need to do like the tiniest little bit of work on it to make it where I'm happy. Because I'm very picky. I really appreciate the commission, Mike. Thank you so much. We're gonna do another. We're gonna do another commission in next year, 100%. If money grew on trees, I'd literally get you to paint it. Just get you to send it all, where I just need to put the transfers on it and just need to match a couple of little bits of color. Yeah, that's what we do. Where was the other one? How close are we to matching now? I looked at it before under the light, because I've got a light just above the camera, and I looked at it before under the light. There, okay, the bot's not chilling. It's working tonight. I was like, so the one on the left has been varnished, so there might be a little color difference because of the varnish. But like, I don't know if I can tell any. I think this is perfect. That's why indie games are so much fun. Graphics, 80s style. Do you know what? I fucking love 80s movies, man. Like, I don't know if I like new movies like I like 80s movies. Do you know what? I do want to see one new movie. I want to see that new Aliens movie, though. I've heard good things about it. Like, Alien Romulus or something? It's a bit weird. It's a bit like a Star Trek name or something. I haven't seen it, but I love, you know, Aliens, the one with LV426. I've been watching you paint for an hour and I don't even know what you're working towards. I am very, very picky, VT. So I was just trying to make them look super similar. So like, this little thing here was silver, this little thing here was silver, this little thing here was black, this little thing here was black. These two little things were silver. So like, Mike said that he didn't have a good picture of this one. So he tried to do it all from memory. So I'm just trying to match it up, the tiny little bits that he forgot. Or, yeah, I mean, I guess, like I said, I think he painted this other gladiator for me. I actually couldn't tell you. I've had that other gladiator probably at least a year, maybe 18 months. So he did pretty good at remembering exactly what it looked like from memory. I was just trying to make it 100%. Like I said, I'm very picky. I want shit to match. And then the other problem I have is I look at everything through this 300% magnifying glass, right? And the 300% magnifying glass shows blemishes and shit that you do not see with the naked eye. So then I end up fixing things that you cannot see with the naked eye because I've got the 300% magnifying glass. But if you've been watching the channel for a while, you'll know I'm just weird. Do you know what I find though is when then I take away the 300% magnifying glass, the model is perfect because I've fixed things with 300%. So then I'm really happy. So that's basically I am trying to get to a point where I am really happy and I'm pretty frigging close. Does that make sense? Probably not. I just want everything to really match this, you know, like, for the longest time I didn't do any commissions, and then I kept falling further and further behind because I guess I was doing more and more YouTube content. I don't know if you've noticed, I've been trying to put YouTube content out on a Tuesday as well recently. So I've been putting out, you know, a stream on Saturday and Sunday, a video on Tuesday, a stream on Wednesday, sometimes when I'm not filming the podcast, stream on Thursday, and then the video on Friday. So basically I'm trying to put content out like 5 times a week, I guess. So I was just falling further and further behind with my painting. So having someone to help me in commission to get shit to where I'm just very happy is where I'm at, I guess. I was been filming a painting video about Commander Dante as well. I was painting the whole Commander Dante so when I've been not streaming, I've actually been painting a little bit off stream and filming something for off stream as well. So I've got that coming too. Have I seen the RoboCop documentary? What, the 1980s RoboCop documentary? Is this a new documentary? Does he have a link to his commission painting? I can just give you a link to his Facebook page, because I'll put it in the chat for you. Have I thought about getting an airbrush? Well, I think I've got too much tech in this room to use an airbrush in here. I don't think I'd feel comfortable with, like, I spent a lot of money on the computer. I don't think I want paint particles in the air. So then my only option for the airbrush I feel like would be my garage, and I've got my garage set up as a gym, so I don't really have room in there because like there's a lot of gym equipment. So unfortunately I guess I'm just painting by hand. I've always painted by hand though, so I guess I don't know what I'm missing, so it doesn't bother me too much. Plus, I guess when I'm painting by hand, I can just hang out and chat to you. I haven't seen the Valve documentary, and I haven't seen the RoboCop documentary. It's on Amazon. It's called RoboDoc, and it's amazing. Okay. Do you know what? I haven't played that new RoboCop game that's supposed to be really good as well. I think it came out on Steam like earlier this year, maybe. I did really like the 1980s RoboCop movies. I just love 80s movies. I guess when the time zone that you grow up, I guess, is just very like. I just feel like we grew up in the 80s, in the 90s with the best movies, maybe. Like Aliens, Terminator, Predator. What else was good in RoboCop? The Matrix. There's some awful good movies back then. With story, you know. What's the Half-Life 2 documentary about? Just how they were making it, or what? I can't believe it's been 20 years since Half-Life 2. I'm still waiting for I'm still waiting for the third episode or whatever it was called. Remember Airwolf? Do you know what? I like the A-Team, man. I do remember Airwolf, but like, that's something else that my kids will never understand is like, you know, we got one episode of the A-Team. Here in the UK, it was like, I feel like it was like a Sunday afternoon, like, let's say like 2 o'clock. So every Sunday, 2 o'clock, you needed to be at the telly. Dun 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 dun. Now my kids are just like, Dad, put this movie on. I was like, yeah, we've got Disney Plus. We literally have every movie all the time. When we were growing up, you had one movie and you watched it over and over and over and over and over because that's all you had. You don't know how lucky you are, kids. Did anyone else have one movie when they were a kid that they had to watch over and over? VT, thanks for hanging out tonight. Go hit the like button before you leave the stream, I'd appreciate it. No Saturday morning cartoons, you're right, Robert. Saturday morning cartoons, that was another one. And then if it got too late at night, the television channel just closed and it just said, like, this channel is closed, come back in the morning. That was always fun as well. I remember Saturday morning matinees as well when you went to the cinema and it was just like random shit for like 2 hours. I feel like some of it was in black and white when I was a kid as well. We had a pretty bad cinema, maybe it was just that. VHS copies of Star Wars recording during a Christmas release with the adverts. I remember in like the... It must have been like 1990s. It must have been like when the special editions of Star Wars came out on VHS. I feel like they made a big deal about that. They were like, you will never be able to buy these movies again on VHS. Star Wars, you know. The marketing back then was crazy, and the quality on VHS was so fucking bad as well. It's like 240p. If you made me watch a video in 240p these days, I'd be like, no, I don't even care what it is. I'm not watching 240p video. And that's what we had. We enjoyed it. We lapped it up. We watched it on repeat. Mind you, we were watching it on much smaller screens, right? Like your telly at home was like 14 inches or something. Probably looked okay at 240p, right? Star Wars was the OG fear of missing out. Yeah, they really were. They really were. $240p on Real Player was absolutely the best thing to happen back in the early 2000s. Yeah, every time we talk about early 2000s, I just remember Winamp. Winamp. Remember Winamp? I think you can still install Winamp. I don't know why you would, but you can. Yeah, send me what I need to know about Path of Exile, Nasser, and I don't know when I can play it, but I will at least install it and take a look at it. But I'm pretty much. I played the new season of Diablo 4. I'm done with it. It was all right. The big thing was getting Winamp skins. Fucking A. I didn't even remember you got skins for Winamp. Oh my god, yeah. What's the Star Wars Commander, the RTS with the awesome soundtrack? I remember Empire at War. Was there another Star Wars RTS? Probably. I think there was one before Empire at War. I don't think I had that one. We're in a very big nostalgia kick tonight, aren't we, guys? Holy shit. Winamp skins. Fucking A. I didn't even remember that was a thing. I've blanked that from my memory, apparently. Who had the coolest Winamp skin? Holy shit. Come back to Heroes of the Storm. I haven't been playing Heroes of the Storm because it sucks me in and I waste too much of my time on it. And Blizzard don't fucking update it, so like I said, Blizzard are. I'm the biggest Blizzard fan ever. I think I'm now the biggest Blizzard hater ever. I mean, I'm not, but I'm upset. Not really. Heroes of the Storm is a black hole of time for me. I played Space Marine 2 for a hot minute. I did play it. I played the PvP for me in Space Marine 2 did not have enough depth. I wanted to play the PvP more. If they do a patch that like adds like proper PvP progression and ranking and more than like 3 maps that are like all the maps were like symmetrical. So it's like I dived into the PvP in Space Marine 2. I played it. I don't know if I played 20 hours of the PvP, maybe like somewhere between 10 and 15 hours. So I mean, I definitely gave it a good shot. I enjoyed it. I just think it lacked depth and it lacked any sort of ranking system. And because of that, I was like, I found it difficult. I couldn't figure out how to get. I just wasn't invested in it, I guess. I dislike what Blizzard did to Overwatch. Overwatch 2. Well, basically what they did was they made it that they couldn't monetize Overwatch 1 and then they fucked up and had to change everything. That's what they did. I played Overwatch 2 for like 2 hours or something. I figured it's just Overwatch 1, but they're now trying to do microtransactions. And yeah, I mean, I played Overwatch 1 for a little bit more time than that, but I was never really into Overwatch 1. I have the collector's edition. I'm going to sell it, I think. I'm at the point where like I'm just selling stuff that I don't care it. Like, why am I keeping this collector's edition? The maps are a copy and paste of Halo. The ranking is there now, but there's no depth really. Balance patch has done good things, but it's only worth an hour or two. Yeah, I feel like having played Space Marine 2, I feel like it would benefit from like a Battlefield type game mode. You know, like I don't even know if I like Rush that much. But I think Rush is like a game mode that a lot of people know from Battlefield, where it's like there's an objective that our whole team need to be pushing, and we're all pushing like the same way, and we're all working together. And I feel like that sort of team play element was just missing from Space Marine 2. And I would have loved it to have it, because then I would probably still be playing it. But because it was missing, I just fell off very, very quickly. I made a video about it. It didn't get that very many views, or people didn't agree with me, so. I mean, I don't mind. Do you know, Battlefield 2142, Nasser, would have been... It has the perfect game mode for Space Marine 2. What was it? What was the game mode in 2142 with the flying titans? What was that game mode called? I forget. Was it just... Maybe it was just called Titans or something, was it? But that's the mode that Space Marine 2 needed. If you never played Battlefield 2142, it was basically a mode where both teams had like a hovering aircraft, like an air. You know in those Avengers movies, what was the big like flying hovercraft with like the airport carriers and all that shit on it in the Avengers? Like they were like flying aircraft carriers. I think it was in the Avengers movies, like maybe the first Avengers movie, they had like one of those aircraft. Both teams have one of those aircraft, and they have a shield around them, and you had to like take over missile silos on the ground, hold the silos on the ground while they shoot missiles to take out the shield, and once the shield is down, you board the aircraft carrier using like a helicopter or a drop pod, and then you blow it up from the inside out. That's what Space Marine... That would have been awesome for Space Marine 2. Helicarrier, yeah, so both teams have a helicarrier that's hovering over the battlefield, and at the start of the game you cannot board the helicarrier until you've taken the shield down, and to get the shield down you have to hold the nodes on the ground. It was Battlefront 2 Space Battle, and I never really played Battlefront 2, but it was such a good mode. I think you can probably find the video by searching Battlefield 2142 Titan mode, or it would honestly have been so perfect for Space Marine 2. Because you could have just used Thunderhawk gunships. So there's like a Thunderhawk gunship for both teams hovering above the battlefield that have shields. You have to do something on the ground to drop the shields, and then you board the enemy's Thunderhawk gunship. And the cool thing about it is like you would have some people in your team that would be like, right, you stay at home and defend our gunship, and we'll jump onto the enemy's gunship and try and take it down. So you would have like squads, and you could squad up, same as you can in Space Marine 2. So you'd squad up into like fours, and you'd have like a couple of teams of 4 defending and a couple of teams of 4 attacking. And it just, the map, like at any point, you know, like the defenders could be getting overrun, and they'd be like, if you're respawning, they're like, oh shit, we're getting overrun, so you need to come and do a bit of defense, and then, right, we got it shored up again, now let's get back on the offensive. It was such a good game mode. That game was ahead of its time, I feel like. And then of course, I think I just only like old games. I think that's the problem. all these new fucking games that have all these fancy graphics and shit. They don't... I guess back in the day when they didn't have all the fancy graphics, they had to worry about other stuff. The other stuff ended up being better because they had to worry about it. They had to actually worry about gameplay, they actually had to worry about longevity. Something like that, maybe. But yeah, what I wouldn't give to like have half an hour with a Space Marine 2 lead guy or whatever he would, I don't know what his title would be. It'd be like, look at this game mode, look how awesome this would be in like ranked PvP compared to what is there right now. But I mean, here's the thing, I guess Space Marine 2 isn't really a PvP game. The PvP is like an add-on. But at the same time, sometimes I feel like the PvP can be the thing that keeps people playing, like long after they'd normally have quit, right? The Christmas holidays are coming up. I'll make sure that I do at least one stream of Space Marine 2 PvP over Christmas or something. What is for anyone that's still playing Space Marine 2, what is the PvP population like these days? Is the PvP still popping off all the time? Like the queues are still busy and stuff, or is it a bit less than it was at launch? I haven't probably played it since like a week after launch, honestly. PvP was still being played in Space Marine 1? Well, I guess other people aren't as picky as I am. I know I'm picky. I'd hope for more depth, I guess. Is average wait times it's still fairly populated? Okay, I didn't realize the time. How long was that? Oh, I've been live like 2:15. Okay, all right. I'm gonna be like 5 more minutes, guys. I'm gonna have to take off. It's like 20 to midnight. I'll probably need to get up at like 7:30. So. Time flies when you're having fun, that's what they say. Alright, Nuss. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for the gifted. I do appreciate it, dude. Very kind of you. Thanks for the push to get some painting. Yeah, I think it's good to just do painting every week, man. I like try not ever have a week where I don't do some painting. I know some people let like their motivation levels decide on how much painting they do. I try and get rid of all that crap. I see it the same as going to the gym, right? Like I go to the gym, it's like a... You can make that a battle in your mind. Like, you know, am I going to go to the gym? Am I not going to the gym? Can I be bothered to go to the gym? I think like once you remove the battle and you're just like, the Giants are down by 3 at half time. I cross my fingers for... Who are the Giants playing today? They've got like a backup quarterback playing as well. Has he done alright? They must have scored, because if they must have scored something if they're only down by 3, right? Yeah, I think I just remove any of the battle in my mind. You know, like, I'm going to be painting. I'm going to be going to the gym. For me, it's the Cowboys, okay. I think when you remove the battle from your mind, you just make it easier on yourself. Like, why have that mental battle? Just be like, this is what I'm doing. I've completely ranked up on everything in operations, so now stepped away from Space Marine 2 until there's more content. How many hours you put into it, Robert? Have they said what the more content will be, or are you expecting something, or are you waiting on something? I'm not ranked up at all in it, I guess. I got frustrated at the campaign being buggy, and then I guess haven't really been back properly since we had a couple of streams where my progress completely stalled, and then it was like, oh, okay. You were picking up the brush every day until Space Marine 2 came out. Well, I mean, you're allowed a little bit of a break, dude. Don't beat yourself up. If a new video game comes out that I'm super passionate about, I could probably spend a little bit more time doing that than I planned. I played FF7 Remake. No, sorry, FF7 Rebirth. I guess that's the second game. Remake was the first game. And I put like, without even trying, I put in like 75 hours into that game or something. I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to the third game now, whenever that may be. We got a new mission, a new pistol a month ago. The pistols are pretty underwhelming, right? Unless... Can the Blade Guard take the pistol? Or the Bulwark, I guess, as it's called? Hey, someone else thinks that FF7 was amazing. Yeah, it was good, wasn't it? I enjoyed it a lot. I need to go back to it and beat some of the endgame bosses that I missed. Maybe I'll do that a little bit over the Christmas holidays. Okay. I feel like this tank's looking pretty good now. I mean, it was looking pretty good before, but now I'm feeling pretty good about it. I definitely get my tanks to be very, very bright red, don't I? Spent the whole night generally doing even more Evil Sun Scarlet over what was there already. It was quite bright, now it's probably obnoxiously bright. I love it. Second edition bright colour schemes. That's what 40k is all about for me. It's like a las pistol, a Volkite pistol. Okay. Yeah, no, I think I'll play Space Marine 2 again at some point in the near future, I think. It's not like I wasn't enjoying it, I just felt like the PvP needed more depth. I thought more people would feel like I did, but it felt like when I talked about the PvP needing more depth, it really felt like I was the minority. So I just kind of shut up and didn't make any more videos about it.
I have awoken.
Abraham, thank you so much for subscribing. Welcome to the channel. So I got a new tactics video coming out tomorrow, guys. I'll probably be back on Saturday night. I'll actually put the transfers on this tank on Saturday night because I think I'm pretty happy with the red now. So, put the transfers on. Then he'll be ready to varnish probably when the weather in Scotland gets a little bit better, and then we'll be... I don't know what unit I'm going to do next. Maybe another Impulsor. We'll see. You were ahead on the curve in Space Marine 2. Player numbers have dropped a lot since then. I think most feel the same. Oh, my video was ahead of the... I appreciate you saying that, Marius, because I felt like my video was right about it, but like nobody agreed with me, so I just left it. And barely anyone watched the video I made about it as well, which also can kind of put a damper on things if no one watches the video. I just played enough multiplayer PvP games to feel like it was a little bit... like the end game wasn't as much there as I'd hoped. But no, I appreciate you saying that, Marius. Thank you very much. Alright, I'm going to take off, guys. Thanks for watching. Leave a like. We'll see you from a tactics video tomorrow. I'll be out about 1 PM as always. Have a great weekend. I'll maybe be back here Saturday night streaming some painting. Good night. Have a nice evening.